Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee and One Thing with Team Beery. Thanks for tuning in. We are talking about home inspections today, and our special guest is Derreck Weatherford. He has a company called 360 Degree Home Inspection, and we're really excited. Thanks, Derreck, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Our coffee this month is the classic Folgers. Best part of waking up. So we are caffeinated and motivated. Yes, we are. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Scott,
I'm
Elaine,
ready.
Audrey, and here we go. What's your best definition of a home inspection?
We're all just looking at each other.
Oh, I forgot. We have a bet going. You'll hear more about it at the end. We're all going to try to pick the most common thing that we think shows up on every home inspection. Okay.
So you can avoid that.
Yeah. If you're a seller, we're giving you tips.
So what do you think a home inspection is all about? Like, why do they hire you?
So a home inspection is basically, it's a thorough, in-depth inspection of what's functional, what's not, what's damaged, not cosmetic, but more water damage, damaged structurally, stuff like that, basically from the top of the house down. I'm hired, a lot of times I network through agents, but I really work for the buyer, and I represent the buyer. We sign a contract with the buyer, so any information is given to the buyer only, and then whoever represents them, which in this case is the buyer's agent. So, and my job is to go through the home thoroughly. Depending on the square footage, it could take anywhere from 2 to 5, 6 hours if it's a big house, and then go through it in depth, and then basically recommend no requirements, because we're not code experts, because every code is different depending on the city, but we just make recommendations based on what we think needs to be looked into or further evaluated by roofer, electrician, plumber, et cetera, down the line.
So I'm assuming you don't like tear things apart to verify they work. You just are doing more of a visual.
Yes, yes. The way I kind of equate it, and it kind of works out because my background is I'm a firefighter as well, and a military veteran, but I look at it as a paramedic. So we're not doctors in the field, just like home inspectors. We're not plumbers, roofers, electricians. So we go in, it's a non-invasive inspection. We don't lift tiles on roofs. We don't really move a whole lot of things. If it's furnished, we don't move anything, because people, obviously it's their home. We don't move anything. We don't move stuff to discover outlets. And then we make recommendations based on that.
All right. So when you're talking about home inspections to a buyer, and the first question typically is, well, how much is it going to cost?
Yes. So where I got my pricing, when I started this company 6.5 years ago, I kind of started from scratch. The BTR, which is the Bureau of Technical Registration, sets the standard for what needs to be inspected per the state, and then we have to train underneath other inspectors. So I kind of gauged their pricing and then kind of did some research on my own, and it's just based on time. Obviously, a smaller house starts about 300, which is under 1,000 square feet, and then goes up from there every 500 to 1,000 square feet, depending on that. And then if it's an older home, 75 or earlier, and then it's tiered 1950s or earlier, obviously there's a lot more that goes into that inspection. So we add additional cost for that, and then we inspect pools and spas.
Okay.
And then same thing, it's non-invasive, so we don't lift the filters or check the condition of that. And then we also work with Magic Pest Control for termite inspections. So we set everything up. They bill us monthly. So if you go through us, we're paid all that together. We don't charge any extra for that. That's just a fee, what they charge. Yep. And
That's included in your pricing?
It's not included in my pricing. So let's say, for example, it's a normal 1,500 square foot house, 1990 build, no pool, and you want a termite. So it would be $350 for that, for the home. And then if you would like a termite inspection, they start at $60 under 1,000 square feet, and then it goes up $5 every 1,000 square feet. And if they drive, if they charge a trip charge, which is like, and then if there's a casita, they charge extra. And then what's nice is they started doing this year, which works out well, is termites. We all know it's not if, but when you're going to get them. Is if it comes up clean at the time of inspection, they offer a 1-year warranty for spot treatments through their company.
Oh,
I don't have
that's
anything to
nice.
do with that,
Right.
but when you get your report, it's all on there, and you just contact them
That's kind of nice.
and
Yeah.
set everything up.
Yeah.
So,
That's a nice
It's a
option
little-
to have.
It's
Yeah.
a little in case.
yeah, yeah, coverage for everybody, but they form in an hour. Tubes form. I've learned that.
In an hour?
They can
Yeah,
form
they
in an
can do
hour.
it
Wow.
fast.
So if they come through in their inspection and you come through for the walkthrough later or the next day, there could be a tube that was either missed, but more than likely it was formed. Or if it's furnished, they don't move stuff
You
in
don't
the garage.
You
They
don't
don't
see
move
it
in.
at
necessarily
all.
see it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
just so they do that.
That's kind of cool.
That's
It's
nice.
It's a good little deal. Yeah.
Awesome.
Very
So,
cool.
can you tell us a little bit about your company? Now, you kind of told us a little bit of how you
Yes.
got off the ground, but tell us, like, why are you so awesome and not everybody else?
So, kind of my background. So, I'm a military veteran, and I'm also a firefighter with Gilbert. And I was just looking for something to do on the side. So I thought about, being an agent, being a pool guy, just doing something to not drive my wife crazy, but also make some extra money. And I just Googled different jobs, and I came across home inspections. And then I don't have a tremendous knowledge of building construction prior to the fire service, but with the fire service, it kind of makes you
Right, you're
Right.
learning,
learn.
definitely learning.
Yes, yes. And then obviously going through home inspections adds a lot more knowledge to that. So I just looked at it, and it's a flexible profession, and I like doing it. I kind of like being my own boss and just doing my thing. So I started doing that about 6.5 years ago. Actually 7 with the training, and then started my company about 6.5 years ago. And then we've gotten to a point now where
You've hired
based-
some team members.
Yes, based on our shift work, if I'm not available or whatever, we're flexible. So I have 2 other team members, Sam Serbo and Lucas Robinson, who are also firefighters, but they do a great job. So
Nice. So that's pretty convenient to be able to have, like,
Well, it keeps the business up and running.
yeah,
Yes.
when you're
Shift.
kind
Yeah.
of doing a little something
yeah.
else.
So if we go out of town or
Right,
whatever,
Right.
we have,
right.
we
That's
have the
exactly
ability.
why we formed our team.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
To help
Yep.
one
So I saw
another.
agents kind of work that way, and I was like, hey, why not do that? I know other inspection companies, bigger firms, do that too.
Right.
So I just looked at options, and it works out well.
Very
awesome.
cool.
Yep.
So when you're doing home inspections, typically when you first walk in the house, do you have an impression? Or you go, oh, this one's going to be really hard, or oh, this is going to be really easy?
I do. Obviously, the state of the home is a big thing. Whether they kept up on the home or not can
Okay.
can lengthen that.
Home maintenance.
Yes, home
Okay.
maintenance is big, and you can tell walking in who takes care of it. I'm sure as an agent, you can tell who
Right,
took care of it,
yeah.
who not.
Oh, absolutely.
And then just doing this for so many years. Luckily, I had 2 inspectors that had been doing it for a long time that trained me on big red flags to look for. And then just doing this for you kind of have an idea
After you
of,
see so many houses.
yes, of depending on the era it was built, what you need to look
or the
for.
builder, because once you start doing enough of them, you kind of know the builder.
Yes, the builder and all that. And then obviously it's a routine. So we
Right.
do the same thing every time so we don't miss anything. And that's a big thing too when a lot of people who are buyers, they want to be there for the review 99% of the time, but some of them want to be there the whole inspection, which I am totally fine with. Our team doesn't. The only thing we ask is that all questions are held off to the end,
Till the end.
Right.
just so we don't miss anything.
Yeah.
You can follow me around, but
Yeah, we have no
If you want to
problem.
get in the attic in the summer, go
yeah,
for it.
Yeah,
Good luck
exactly,
with that.
exactly.
So when you're talking about you have a routine, what does that look like? Like walk us through.
So the first thing we do is we look at the main water meter when we show up. We try
Okay.
to locate that. Obviously, as a homeowner, you want to know where stuff is. So the water meter is a big thing, and if there's movement at the meter with everything off, that's a good sign there's a leak. Whether it's a slab leak or it has a pool and it's the autofill, irrigation system, running toilet, whatever, and we try to
Something's
isolate
going
it.
down.
Yeah, so we start there, then we go to the main shutoff, test the water pressure. We don't. That's the only thing. We only
You don't shut it
operate
off.
the fixtures in the house. We don't do angle stop valves underneath the sinks. We don't do main shutoffs.
Right.
We don't do breakers.
That's important to know.
That
because
is.
sometimes people forget that.
he's an inspector, not a plumber.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Start moving
You
valves.
start moving valves, and especially
Yeah.
older ones, they don't reopen, and now
Right.
you're paying a couple $100 for a plumber to come.
Yeah.
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 So, and then because the dishwasher takes a good 3 hours, and if they're newer, they take longer because they're more energy
Oh
efficient.
my gosh,
Yeah.
my new dishwasher takes forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
really?
we start
Yes.
that right away when we get there. We check, obviously, if it's loose or not. the quality of the racks, if it's rusted out, any the high loop. To make sure that's done. A lot of the newer dishwashers have high loops built on the side. That's a standard thing. But
Really?
because we can't see it,
Oh, because
still
it's
are calling
inside
it
the
out.
it's
paneling.
inside. Where it is, it's
Oh,
inside
gotcha.
on the side. So we just note it if it's.
For everyone, that's when your dishwasher slides in, you can't see the sides of the dishwasher because it's in between cabinets.
Yes. Yes. So a lot of them are built in there, and then but.
But
obviously-
Well,
you
that
have
was
to call
smart.
it out.
Yeah.
Finally.
So we
It's
say
good
it.
to know that I didn't know that new ones were like that.
So as long as
a
it's a
good thing to
newer
know.
one, I guess
Yeah.
you're a little
Yeah.
more safe.
Yeah, we still note it because we can't see it, but
Okay.
we
Yeah.
just tell, hey, it's
Okay, that's interesting.
And then we run the dishwasher, and then we go from there. Everybody, Sam and myself and Lucas, I train them all the same, but obviously everybody's different. They have their own thing, but I like to start outside first, hit the roof, hit the garage, all that, and then work inside, and then the pool.
Do you guys climb on the roof, or do you use a little drone?
So I looked into a drone. I actually bought a cheap one, but the FAA
It's
requires.
crazy,
They're
yeah,
crazy. It's
yeah.
very expensive. The liability
Bill, our
involved.
video guy, would tell you all about that.
Yes. So
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's not required to walk a roof by the state. You're not required to.
Right.
You can observe it from the ground. So if it's safe to walk the roof, we try to walk every roof. Obviously, we don't walk it if it's raining outside because you could slip. If the pitch is too steep, if it's clay, tile, or a metal roof or slate, we don't walk those.
Okay. Okay.
Why not a metal roof? Because if it's slick?
It's
Well, that-
slick,
you
and you
can
can
put dents in.
and
you can dent it. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
dent
It's
it,
very
then you-
thin gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we
okay.
don't- yeah. So we have the ability. I have a. It's not binocular. It's single. So it's I forget what it's called, but it's basically binocular.
Unocular.
I believe so.
I don't
But
know.
it's basically that's what I think. But it's basically you can see. We look from the ground. We look at all sides. We ladder the corners, and then we actually have this. I bought this about a few months ago. It's a ferret tool, and it basically has an extension pole, and you can hook it up, and it's
And
like a
you can
fiber
kinda
optic.
see the
Yeah,
fiber
so we can
optic.
do that.
Oh, okay.
You can do your own little.
It's kind of cool.
Yes, yeah. So in attic spaces or
Yeah.
behind or
That's
behind
cool.
washing machines,
See,
pretty
see it behind and
and it's tied to your phone. So
you're
it's-
not trying to squeeze in
Exactly,
there.
That's
exactly.
nice.
That's
So
really
it's a nice
cool.
little setup.
That's
Yeah.
really
Cool.
cool. So walk us through what you would do for a AC inspection, because I think people get so caught up on how that
Yes.
plays out.
So there's basically two types of units. There's an AC unit that's a split system, which is very common. That's the standard. And then if you have gas to the property, you have your furnace, usually in the attic. So we run the AC, we run the heater on that. And then you have a heat pump, which is only electric. And if it's hot outside, basically above 65 degrees, we only do it in cool mode, which is the AC, because you could damage the equipment if you run it in heat mode.
Now I was told if it's running in the cold mode, it's going to work in the heat.
Yes, there's a reversing valve in there that basically adjusts depending on what mode.
Okay.
We can't check
Okay.
that. Yes. So basically, what we do with those units is we run them. That's obviously an expensive item, so we run it a long time while we're there. We check the splits, which is the air temp going in your return, which is where your filters are, air filters, and then coming out of the next closest vent. And it's supposed to be within a certain range. 14 to 22 degrees is what we look for.
So it's probably important to have a clean air filter.
Yes, so a clean air filter helps with that. Your suction line insulation, the sleeve on the outside, helps out a lot with that. And then obviously, if you have it serviced annually, it keeps up on that. So a lot of people have misconceptions that we can open equipment, which we don't. That's where an HVAC tech would come in. They can check the refrigerant, they can check the capacitor, and any components on the inside. So we don't speculate.
You run it and check the air temp.
Yes, we
And
check
yeah,
the air temp.
That's the extent.
Yeah, we note the
Yeah,
year
yeah.
of the unit, and obviously most people can figure out if it's an older unit.
Right.
It's probably towards the end of its
Getting close,
lifespan.
right,
So we
yeah.
always recommend an HVAC person look at it,
That's awesome.
depending on the year, and they can get more in depth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
And
then,
depending on the splits.
Depending on the splits. If the splits are off, we always recommend that's looked at.
Yeah, doesn't matter how new it is.
If it's
Right.
if it's new or old, we don't note it in the report. We just note objective with the year, and then we just kind of tell that person based on what they want to do. Hey, if it was serviced last year, then you're good. We recommend it service every year. If you want, you can have an HVAC tech look at it, but it's not recommended in the report because it meets the split
The
criteria.
split.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's kind of just based on what the homeowner or the buyer wants to do.
So basically, with an inspection, it's 4 main things: plumbing, electrical, roof, and HVAC.
Yes, and then along
And pool, if
the
you
pool, and then interior with doors, windows,
Structural.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And-
do you do? Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Do you do the water system and like softeners and?
So with the irrigation system, the standard is not to run that. So, but most people, when they buy the home, they want to know, hey, does my timer work? Are there any leaks? So we do run it after we go through, make sure the meter's not moving, all that. I run it for a couple minutes. I don't check every sprinkler
Valve.
head,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
drip line.
Okay.
I just check the manifold, the main manifold.
Is it turning on? Is it turning off?
Is it turning on? Is it turning off? Are there any leaks there visually? And then kind of go from there.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know.
And then water softeners, we do not check. We check for leaks or damage around it. And then we basically take a picture saying, hey, you have a water softener. And RO systems, filtration systems are the same.
Okay. So
It's
that
typically
would,
checking for leaks, which is good. That's the
Yeah,
main
just
thing.
leaks and then basically noting, because a lot of people, especially nowadays, are buying it out of state, so they don't know what they have. So we'll just note in the report, hey, you have one, it's here.
right.
You're gonna
So
like
it sounds like you.
Yeah,
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 you're gonna
yes,
want one.
yes.
You're gonna
yeah,
want one.
You're gonna want one.
So it sounds like you take a lot of photos.
We do. Our reports are very in-depth. We don't try to overload with little nitpicky items, but we do know what's present, what's not, what functions, what's not, and then FYI stuff. So our reports are broken down, like you were saying, depending roof, attic space, plumbing, electrical, interior, all that stuff. So every section will have its photos, but we'll take a picture of the attic space, whether it's damaged or not. If it's damaged, we'll note where the damage is. But if it's not, hey, this is letting you know we got in the attic. This is what you can see. This is your insulation depth, all that stuff.
That's good to know. Yeah.
With the HVAC, the AC stuff, we'll take a picture of the model and serial number so you have it, because most people don't want to go in their attic.
And figure
Or
one
on the
out.
Yeah,
roof.
and try to find it.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
put that on there. We'll put
No, some of us send our friends in the attic. Laundry.
That is not.
Getting called
That is
out.
not. I was going up
You
there
said-
and you stopped
Wouldn't let
me.
you. Yeah.
it's hot. Yeah,
This is not true. And it was not summer.
that's good.
It still felt like it.
It gets hot up there. And just FYI stuff. Obviously, what's damaged is definitely in there, but model serial numbers for that, for your water heater, and then stuff like that. And if it's
And as far
furnished-
as appliances, it's the same thing, right? Just turning them on, making sure the
Yes.
like stove, the burners come on, the oven gets
yes,
hot.
yes,
The
any
garbage disposal runs.
any installed appliances we always check.
Okay.
Sometimes now washers and dryers are staying or refrigerators are staying, so we find out that. And then other than is it cold or not, we're
Yeah.
not appliance experts. Sometimes if there's laundry in the washing machine, we don't run it.
Right.
Yeah.
But we will do models and serial numbers of those items, because we've heard, I guess it happens sometimes where it gets switched out
Oh,
after
yeah.
closing.
Sometimes
or
it
before.
does.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
note that in our report too.
Okay. Nice.
So here's what we've been waiting for. All right. So what is the most
Wait.
common?
Well, you have to go around.
We have to
Oh.
tell our guesses first.
Okay.
Who's gonna go
So
first?
you go
Rock,
first.
paper, scissors.
Go ahead. Let's start.
You go first.
Yeah.
My guess is the high loop.
Ooh. Okay.
Dishwasher high loop.
Okay. All right.
So
I see that a lot.
My guess is the angle stops.
Like corrosion on
the little valvey things that are underneath
Valve.
all the.
You got angle stops?
It's official.
Yeah,
word,
it is
you know.
valvey. Yep, yep.
Valvey.
My guess is a hot water heater is improperly installed with the vent going into the attic.
Oh.
The fire-
That
The
does-
collar.
that
Yeah,
one has
that
been
collar.
called out on
That
almost
happens a
every
lot.
inspection.
We've
happens a lot.
replaced some of those.
Yeah. So what do you think?
So out of you three, I would say Audrey.
Nice.
But
She gets to do the next 4 films by herself.
but there's also the vacuum breakers or anti-siphon valves.
Oh, see,
Which those
I was
happen
thinking that
Right.
too.
a lot.
Yeah.
So
And
for
that-
those that don't know, that's on your hose spigot outside.
Yes,
Outside.
yes. And the state requires me to note if they're present or not. They're about $2.
And they're like little screen things, right?
Yeah.
That screw onto the end of your
And
spigot.
it makes the water spush out. And so
Yes.
I've had people tell me, "Oh my gosh, my hose is broken."
No,
That's how it's designed.
Yeah, it's a one-way valve essentially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
So
old
it's to
school,
stop water from
That's the main
backing,
thing.
coming back.
in.
There's a reason
Yeah.
that's not on most houses.
Yes,
Right.
yes, that's the
Because
reason.
they're
Because the
annoying.
hard water, it gets stuck on there, and
Yeah,
it
it
shoots
takes
water.
pressure.
Yeah,
It takes
does.
pressure
It just
away.
reduces pressure. So,
Oh.
but yeah, that's
It
probably.
does.
But
But they have to be on there.
they have to be on there per the
Code-wise.
state. Yep. So we know if they're present or not. And then the more expensive versions of those are the ones for your irrigation systems, the Big Bell, or your autofill. That's a
Like
basically-
water pressure.
That is
House
a
water
backflow preventer as well.
Oh,
It's all
okay.
that is. So when it
Backflow.
shuts on and off,
Yeah.
it prevents the
That
And
does get called
those
out. a
are
lot.
That's
those are more
true.
expensive.
Yeah.
Those are not $2. Those are
No.
That's
those
like
are
$100.
pricey.
Several.
Yeah.
Several.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know obviously those are present. or not.
Cool. Well,
dang.
so we got pretty close.
Yeah, you were close.
I
Audrey,
don't think I got.
Actually,
been
the
called
call
out.
the caller gets missed.
I would say
was
all
called
three
out
of
a
us.
lot.
I would say
I
all
was
three of us.
the
Those
callers,
all get
the callers,
called out
they
pretty
do.
regularly.
They do.
And to me, like the angle stop thing, it's so cheap to fix that.
It is.
Before the inspection happens.
It is.
You know,
yeah, like sometimes the
They're
handle's
like 100
broken.
Not even. Well, really. The little hosey things are like
Little
hosey. I'm talking very
Dolly and
efficiently,
Hosey.
but that is literally only a couple bucks.
Yeah, they're not expensive.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
So if they
it's
get
an easy
calcium
fix.
buildup
Yeah, it's
because
an
of our
easy
hard
fix
water.
to just go in there before you have that home
Right.
inspection.
Yep.
So that's our
Anything
tips.
we've missed?
No, I think the biggest thing, like you said, the misconception with home inspections, they're very non-invasive. That's
Right.
the big thing for homeowners. But we always recommend doing it, just like agents do, because you want to know what you're getting into, and at least you have an objective report in front of you to know, hey, do I want to get this repaired now based on my agent's recommendations, or is it a honey-do list basically of items? So
Well, and a couple of things for a seller to note is like change all the light bulbs. Make sure all the
Yeah,
lights are
everything
working.
works,
Because
yes.
if the light bulb isn't working, all you can do is say the
It's not-
electric's not turning on.
Yeah,
so
it's not working, yeah.
then it sounds like it's a much bigger problem than it really is.
exactly.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This has been
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Very,
Thanks for having me.
very
Thank you for your service to our country too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for climbing in the attic.
It's hot.
Yeah.
It's hot up there.
It's hot.
It's hot.
It's so hot he lost his hair.
I did. That's marriage. That was marriage right there. Yeah.
I'm not even going.
I'm not gonna let
My wife
Derek's
says it was,
wife know
my wife said it was
this
before
episode
marriage.
airs.
But, no.
Yeah. I think it's the military.
I think so too. Could be that. Could be that.
Well, thanks
So
everyone
thanks so
for
much for
tuning
joining
in.
us.
If you liked this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave us comments, hit the like button, share with friends, and remember, always use a very good team.
Right.
See ya.
See you next time.
Come join us next time.
Yep.